Hi, welcome to Moon Days with Jess. I am an astrologer, a social media marketer, and I host women circles. Um, and I love talking about astrology. I love talking about my feelings. And today is a Monday. Every day of the week is ruled by a planet. Mondays are ruled by the moon. The moon represents our internal feelings, our internal emotions, our internal needs, um, everything that we need internally to feel secure, to feel safe, to feel taken care of. And it colors, yeah, like how we feel internally. Everybody has their own moon sign astrologically in your astrology chart, which is pretty much whatever. The easiest way I like to tell people is imagine that someone took a picture of the sky the moment you were born. That is your astrology chart. Wherever the planets were the second you were born is what's going to be your internal energy. And then but but the planets continue to move, and we call, as astrologers, we call that the transiting energy. It's energy transitioning. So as the energy is transiting, as it continues to transit, it affects us collectively as a whole. Like collectively, like as a community, as people in our, yeah, like on a bigger scale, individual, I mean, than just, personally. So that means that we have an internal moon sign, that's on your birth chart, on your astrology chart. And yeah, people know that as their moon sign on their astrology charts. And then you have the transiting moon, which is like actually, if we were to look at the sky and see the moon, what sign is that moon in currently? And it changes every 2 to 3 days, mostly. Um, so, anyways, that's a super in-depth explanation of that. So, anyways, sorry, going back to Mondays being tied to the moon. So, the planet ruler for Mondays are the moon, is the moon. And so that means that it's a really good time to do something that takes care of your inner feelings, your inner needs, is to give yourself some self-care, but like really, yeah, do something that's going to nurture how you feel internally. Even just taking some time to connect to your internal feelings, which usually means disconnecting, going into like hermit mode. It If you can, when you can, even if that's a little bit of time in the morning, um, or a little bit of time at night or in afternoon, like having some time away by yourself to connect to your inner feelings is very important. You're kind of doing a check-in. Sometimes internal feelings can be tricky because um so much of us in the world is so like disconnected from that. I feel like the world doesn't teach us to the importance of checking into ourselves, like having moments to ourselves. And when we have moments to ourselves, making it present enough to listen, to hear our internal feelings. Because a lot of the times when we're by ourselves, what are we doing? On our phones, um, or watching TV or whatever, YouTube, all the things. So that's really not being present with yourself, you know? So, anyways, rambling. So then we say, so when there's a sign in the moon, whatever sign that's in the moon currently, the transiting moon, um, is going to color our feelings. It's going to characterize the emotions that we're feeling currently. Um, so I'm gonna stop it there. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, let me just say. So another thing, this is like a bonus for astrology nerds out there. So also, it's important to know like whatever um why am I blanking out on the word? I don't remember the word. But I was going to say it's important to know like why am I blanking out on the word? I don't know what it is, but I'm saying like what is the sign? What is the sign? Is it an earth sign? Is it a water sign? Is it a fire sign, or it's an air sign? Depending on how, on like you kind of will be able to estimate or guesstimate how you may feel during the days based on if you pay attention to what sign the moon is going to be in that day. Um if it's in a sign that's compatible with your internal, with your natal or the moon sign that you were born with, then you probably are going to have a pretty harmonious day. Things are going to flow easily, or you may just be feeling kind of the things that you're feeling more, but it's like not new, it's compatible. But when the transiting moon is opposite your moon in your astrology chart, or the moon that you were born with, or if it's not compatible, let's just say that with your the moon that you were born with, your moon sign, then you're gonna you kind of already, not to expect this, because you should always go into every day with like a positive mindset, like, oh, today's gonna be a good day, because it is. It usually is gonna be a good day if you set the tone for it, even if like not the greatest things happen. You're able to address it differently and with a positive mindset. But anyways, the point is, you should also just prepare for maybe some emotional ups and downs when the transiting moon is not compatible with your internal moon. Or anything that's in your chart too, like your sun sign, like your major stuff. So anyways, I'm really going ranting on about this moon stuff. I hope you're keeping up. But the point is, the moon connects to the moon is pretty much our internal feelings, our internal needs. What do we need to feel taken care of? What's our self-care? How do we kind of express ourselves at the moment, or how our feelings are feeling? And then whatever sign that the moon is in is going to characterize our feelings. So today the moon is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is all about transformation. It's the sign of transformation. But like also, well, let me just say, I know we hear that a lot, but let me back up again. So I would say Scorpio is more about passionate feelings, passionate internal feelings that are usually private. Passionate internal feelings that are private. And yeah, I would say that's the best way to describe it. So when the moon is in Scorpio, you may be feeling you may be feeling a lot of feelings passionately, or you may be feeling passionately about something or multiple things or someone or whatever. And it will be more internal. Well, let me say internal. Well, I can't just say internal because the moon represents internal feelings. So when I say internal, let's just say private. And I would say private. Okay, so it's when the moon is in the sign of Scorpio, it's passionate feelings that are private, that you're feeling on a deep level, but it's like you're not really expressing it. You feel it internally, and also they're ever changing. Meaning like, when I say ever changing, what I just say, they can be intense, um intense passion, which means it could be intense like um I want to bring in the transformation, the light and dark, the high and the low. So you could be feeling these passionate feelings on the lower end, which is like I like to say, we always hear about like the sign of Scorpio is like the sign of like death and rebirth, because it's always going through this like these high highs and these low lows, because they are meant to transform. So through for them to transform, they almost have to go through like energetic deaths of themselves throughout their lives themselves, but also externally they probably experience that or will experience that, but they go through these death and rebirths, and these like, when I say the low lows, almost feeling like it's a life or death situation, or um feeling like I don't want to say like you're dying, but kind of. That's why you hear a lot of like people with that energy, Scorpio energy, like really struggling, um, or not struggling, but I would say like mental health is a very it's not foreign, like having to navigate through mental health is normal, only because your feelings are so intense, and because they're often private and it's worked through internally. I mean, imagine, and then also going through like this, like these, like what feels like a death to yourself, and what feels like, yeah, almost think of it like the times that I've had like anxiety attacks, and I really thought like it was the end, like this uncomfortable feeling of like, if I have to let this go, or I have to face this, but it's so uncomfortable, it feels like I'm going to die type of thing. But you do it, you face the fear, and then you're like a whole new person, and then it just like transforms you into like this new version of yourself, um that that is, I feel like, what is important for people with moon and Scorpios and Scorpio people in general to be going through these transformations, so they can learn to help other people deal with the more serious, more heavy, more intense things that most people can't deal with, because it's hard, it's dark. When I say dark, it's like, I mean, these things that are like taboo, I would say, or not taboo, but yeah, I guess taboo, because these are the things that people don't like to talk about, like grief, death, um like intense feelings that have to do with like, or mental health, just all these things. There's so many things. So finances, but on the bigger end, like debt and money, just certain things. So yeah. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's already 15 minutes. So you may be, whenever the moon is in the sign, you may be feeling passionate feelings that almost push you to the edge of having to face some sort of fear of something and maybe needing to push yourself past it, but feeling like it's almost like life or death. And it could be very subtle. Or you could just be feeling more private, with how you feel internally. These are multiple themes. You may not all be feeling all of these things, but you could be feeling these on different levels. Maybe you're just more private with your emotions and you want to just sit with your emotions alone. That may be intense. You may be feeling some intense feelings. You may be feeling some fears. You may be feeling more like passion, even or you may be like also like hyper obsessed and on into something. I think another good thing about like, I feel like the whenever the moon is in the sign of Scorpio, it's really a good energy to work on something that you need to like be focused on, and like you need to solve a problem and get to the bottom of something, because you will because usually Scorpio energy is very good at like solving things, and like can sometimes veer onto the point of like obsessive, and that's that passionate of something, but it's like because it wants to get to the bottom of it or uncover it or discover something until it's like they've like uncovered it all. The detectives is like that's something that they that's why they're really good at detectives, or being detectives, or but like uncovering secrets or anything like that. So more private with your feelings, a good time to like focus intensely on something or get to the bottom of something. And then it also probably is a good time to like pay attention to your finances, and like when it comes to like your savings or any debt that you have or any money owed, any shared income or resources, like those are things too that you know will be something important, or may come up for you, may not, but financial stuff may come up, especially when it has to do with like money that's owed to something or borrowed or something around that. And then you also may be feeling the typical things that people always say is like Scorpio is tied to like sex, but it's more about intimacy, and maybe feeling more passionate about what like wanting the desire to be intimate with someone, but having to navigate through like the fear of wanting to be intimate, but also the fear of like, oh, if you're intimate with someone, that means that they, you have to trust them. There's a trust level with that. And that's another thing about Scorpios. They don't trust easily. And there's so much, there's so much, but so I would just say, though, I can go on, but I would just say the main things is like this will be a time that you will be most likely dealing with some feelings internally that may be more of an intense feeling. But it's private. You're most likely not going to be talking about it with other people unless you have Aquarius energy in you, which is like me. And that's why I always say like, it's an interesting feeling for me when anything is in the sign of Scorpio, because I, as an Aquarius, like to think through, or it's more natural for me to like think through my feelings. And when I'm feeling something like today, I felt some intense feelings today. And I actually vlogged it, so that'll come out later. But I was feeling these like intense feelings of like not wanting to do something, or the fear of whatever. And it was just like, oh, it was so agonizing and I could just feel it. And I have a fire moon, I have an Aries moon. So um like Aries is ruled by the planet of Mars, Scorpio is ruled by the planet of Mars. So it's like both like feeling passionate about something. But Aries is more externally passionate about whatever. Like anything that Aries is passionate about, you're going to know because they're expressive. They have to express it outwardly. They have to like, Scorpio is different. Like you won't be able to tell that they're passionate about something because it's usually private. But they feel it on such an intense level, which I feel like sometimes maybe that's why Scorpio energy usually feels things so intensely because it's just so like bottled up inside. But that's not true. I think also just because they are the sign of transformation. So with the intensity, it almost feels like pushing yourself on the edge of something. It's like very heightened because it's trying to, you're working through it internally. Maybe. And it's and yeah, I think because of the transformation thing. But anyways, but for me, I'm uncomfortable with these feelings. I'm already uncomfortable with feeling things. Let's start there. With feelings anyways, especially feeling, because feelings, I always joke as an Aquarius, I like to be able to understand stuff. I'm a logical person, meaning like I think I always navigate my life based off of like logic, which I'm trying to get better at now that I'm on this, like since I've been on my spiritual journey, and I really tried to connect to myself more spiritually. I have had to really learn to feel my emotions rather than think through my emotions, which I'm still, trying to get used to that. but yeah, like when I feel, the thing about it though is like sometimes whenever you're in this, like anything is in the sign of Scorpio, especially moon, I almost have to just get comfortable with feeling these like uncomfortable, like intense feelings and being okay with not understanding it right now. Um yeah, I felt like that today. I felt like I was, trying to understand these feelings that were but then it was paralyzing almost so for me because I feel like when I feel a lot, if I don't understand it, I can't do anything. Like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's the weirdest feelings. I like to like fix things. I think because I'm the fixer, like I'm the Aquarius. I also have a Capricorn Mercury. So for me, I really like to try to understand something and like I don't know, maybe that was also the thing about the moon in Scorpio because like for me since I'm an Aquarius and it was like I almost had to get to the bottom, that obsessive feeling of trying to get to the bottom of whatever I'm feeling and being obsessed over it, that it limited, like it almost, like I was like, I had other stuff to get done today, just so many things. Anyways, but the point is, yeah, that I felt that. So anyways, all right, I have 5 minutes. Okay. So yeah, that is a little bit of, hopefully hopefully you understood that I was kind of just rambling. But definitely feeling more private, to just so you can like work through these intense feelings, that may not be pretty, meaning like not everyone could handle it because it could be, it's real, it's raw, it's not comfortable, which I think of the opposite sign of Scorpio, which is Taurus, is all about comfort. Which, oh, that made me that reminded me that Uranus is in Taurus. So today, that the moon was opposite from Uranus, I think, or it will be because Uranus in Taurus. So that will have another sense of uncomfort, sense of like conflicting energy between like needing to shake yourself out of being comfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and feeling these feelings that you may be feeling. And taking time away to sit with those feelings. Um, yeah, I think that's another thing, is that it's okay to feel feelings and know that it's not going to be comfortable, but you do need to sit in it and not distract yourself from it, or not like get stuck in it too, because I think that's another thing about Moon and Scorpio. Sometimes they can struggle with like the self-sabotaging feeling of like liking that dark feeling, or those deep feelings that almost feels like you're gonna like die, and you just like to just sit in it by listening to like music that is like very in that energy, or like, you know, maybe using substances or just certain things that just keep you in that. I want to say, I don't even know if that's a good way to say it, low vibration, would you say? I don't know, but it's okay to feel that, and take your time to feel your feelings, but don't get stuck there and lost there, because that's often, I feel, is the most comfortable for people with Scorpio energy, because I mean, yeah, you don't have to face any fear when it comes to that. You just can just sit in it. But your goal is you are meant to transform. So you have to you have to face your fear. And the only way you're going to transform is by facing that, whatever fear that you have, that's stopping you from finding the light, which you need to, because with death and rebirth, you can't, if you're, you can't just sit in the death part. You need to do the rebirth part, which is the harder thing, but it's important, because that's how you become the you. And so I think of that as far as how we are right now emotionally, doing something or sitting with intense emotions, taking time to, away from others to deal with it, or to sit in it, to maybe journal, to maybe listen to our music, be in our little cloud for the moment. That's fine, to really like figure out like, what is this? How do we feel? But then then like facing whatever it is that we don't, that we need to face. And for me, that was like going to work today, and doing, this was something so silly. Well, there's two things I'm gonna just say, and let me hurry up because I have 1 minute. Two things that I faced today, a fear, or got out of my comfort zone. I was, number one, I had to, for work today, we are now going to be, I work at a metaphysical store, and we are now going to be doing online shopping, or getting an online store. But I'm in charge currently of like taking all the pictures that are going to be on the website for right now. And I don't know, there's an anxiety, because I'm like a low-key perfectionist, that, I kind of like opened my mouth and like said, like, I have experience in that, but I guess I haven't done it in a while. And so I was having like self-doubt, and like, what if I'm not good enough? And I think we tried to edit or take some pictures, and then they like have a light box, which I've never used. But yeah, they have a light box, which I've never used. They just have a professional equipment. And when I did like took pictures for a website like years ago for another metaphysical shop, they didn't have any. Like I had to like DIY equipment. So anyways, I guess felt a little intimidated by the equipment. And the first time we tried, I guess we just didn't set up the equipment right, and it didn't work out well. So the second time was today, and I don't know, I was just in my head about it and being the perfectionist about it. And there's just a whole bunch of other things, but I was stalling so much today. And then I like didn't want to go, and I was going to make up an excuse, and I was just feeling like these feelings of like, but that was like one of the things. There were so many other things that are more personal that I'm not going to talk about, but okay. But yeah, so that was like, but anyways, the point is, long story short, I did it, and I solved it, and the pictures turned out good. I mean, hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be showing the owner. But yeah, like I figured out the problem with the setting it up, and like I was able to take the pictures, and everything like was perfect. And then another thing of me facing my fears was like turning on the camera today or getting out of my comfort zone, let's just say that, and like doing the moon days with Jess again. That's something that I like thought about doing, and then I almost didn't do it because I had to. It's already like not 10:15 right now, and usually I don't really, the later it gets, the more like checked out of any doing anything productive I get. So yeah, like I left work around 6 and I didn't get home until like 7, 8ish. And then I had to eat, and yeah, just in my head I was like, oh, I just really don't feel like doing this moon day now. But I'm like, well, I should do it though because I said I was gonna do it and I wanted to, and I don't want to let my feelings for something deter me from doing stuff. Like if I initially wanted to do it, that was like, I have to trust that that was my intuition and I wanted to do it. And if I just don't commit to it anymore based on me because I don't feel like it, I don't know, I don't really like that. I'm trying to push past that, push past the comfort and just do something, do this. So anyways, I don't know, that was just kind of like pushing past comfort and choosing to be uncomfortable, and knowing that when I do this, it'll be like a little transition. Not me trying to, I'm just like, I'm being conscious. I'm trying to not go into a whole another rant and be detailed about it. But hopefully you guys understood that. So are you feeling this? Have you felt anything? How did you feel today? Were you feeling any of these themes? Or do you know anybody personally? So if you didn't feel any of these feelings, you may be, lastly, I want to say, if also when the moon is in a certain sign, it could apply to who you're around too. So maybe you live with someone who's giving you more of these like energy, like especially if you have living with someone who is a Scorpio or who have Scorpio things in their chart. You may be like having, like there may be something that comes up with them, or you may be feeling their energy more, whatever. Or you may be drawn to like certain music that it's more like on a, you call it like, I call it like the Scorpio vibey type of music. It's more like people that's talking about intense feelings, or maybe talking about like mental health, or not really, but I don't know. It's more like moody music that trigger you to feel feelings intensely, like even like super like lovey-dovey, or like super like sad music or something. It doesn't have to be that, but it's just an intensity of feelings. Or even watching a movie that brings up, like, that has more scorpionic a mood to it. So yeah, it could just be certain anything that triggers these feelings that I pretty much told you about, whether that's through a person, whether that's through you, whether that's through the music that you listen to over the next couple of days, whether that's a show or anything, or something that you see online that you like, just know that this is the themes for the next couple of days when it comes to whatever triggers your internal feelings. And maybe like a good form of self-care for you over the next couple of days, which would be to take some time to take some time for your privacy. Take some time away and yeah, be alone to feel your feelings, to process your feelings, listen to some music that connects to your feelings in some way, or just live life. I don't know. I'm like telling you how to see. This is the part of astrology where I'm like, I think we should all just do what we feel, but astrology, I don't want it to always be like, it's the moon, so obviously you're gonna do what you feel, but I would just say it would be a good time to, like, if you're feeling like you don't want to be around people or really like express your feelings, or you really want to sit with your feelings, just do that. or if you're feeling that around you, this would probably wouldn't be the best time to like, unless you're talking about intense feelings. I mean, that's another thing you could talk about or express your feelings. That's a part of facing a fear. Um, but anyways, I'm rambling at this point. I hope this was helpful in some way. Um, don't if it resonated with you, great. If it didn't, that's okay. The moon will be in the sign for the next couple of or until shoot. I'm gonna need to get my book. 1 second. Oh, it will be in the moon will be in the sign of Scorpio until Thursday. So, just if you notice any of these themes, you know, if you notice any of these feelings, just know that it's not you, it's the moon. But the moon is forcing you to face some fears or to take some time alone to process your feelings and maybe listen to some music. It's just super, super helpful. I mean, this is a water sign. So it's really good to do things that connect you to your feelings and your emotions. Excuse me, as well. And moody music is a good one. It really is. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Comment if anything comes up for you. And yeah, I'm gonna maybe try to do this moon days with Jess more often. I'm figuring it out. Okay. All right, bye. Oh, speaking of Scorpio moon, I feel like my whole outfit is giving. I mean, misfits. I feel like the whole outfit. I'm just felt like black, and that's another thing. You may just be feeling like sometimes even with how you dress, you may just be even more drawn to black today, and I would count that as a theme. Anyways, all right. I'm still talking. Bye.